Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video I'll be discussing some brief thoughts on episode 9 of the anime series Suisei no Gargantia. By the end of this one, I can say fairly surely that I was emotionally rocked, from a wellspring of unexpected revelations to the weight and terror of those revelations just hitting home, and a pining, longing heart shedding for tears of a love lost. It all made me very nearly misty-eyed myself when it was all said and done. The primary aspect of this episode was Leto's first mission going inside the den of the whale squid as per his and Pinion's deal made over the last 2 episodes. We finally also gained some insight into Pinion's own loss, that of his older brother set in flashback, whilst entering the very whale squid den they intend on making a first strike upon now. It would be perhaps easy for the casual viewer to be rooting for Leto in his vengeful pursuit on these creatures, wishing to eradicate the lot of them. And yet, even before encountering the revelation as to what they really are, I couldn't help but watch in a simmering abject horror as he was readily and eagerly committing genocide. At first I began to suspect there would be an ecological message henceforth about preserving endangered and misunderstood species, one on which I heartily agree, by the way, and while there is an element of that holds over after the mucho huge bomb drop that offers us a glimpse as to what the whale squid's origins is, largely it becomes an even bigger commentary on war, the governmental and societal cover-ups and morals that are perverted to some end, cause, or another. Leto's mission leads him right into, of all things, a whale squid hatchery, wherein after slaughtering hundreds of them, he finds a disc that contains the information that calls into question everything he's ever known. This after giving Chamber a battlefield command to surpass the confidential lock on said info, when at first Chamber notes the Alliance of Humankind ordered it to be kept closed. And so we're shown that in answer to the impending ice age that was once again ready to set itself upon the Earth, within the very hub facility Leto now finds himself in so many hundreds of years later and under the ocean depths, some of the foremost scientific minds had gathered to come up with a solution that involved genetic manipulation. Very much akin to the H.G. Wells classic The Time Machine, humanity was split into 2 nations of sorts that would eventually go to war with each other over this sacrilegious science. The Evolvers, or self-evolving movement, humans who would be ancestors to the very Hideos Leto has so maliciously and passionately fought, and the veritable rest of humanity which began as the Continental Union. The horror Leto is shown to be inundated by as this revelation hits home is only further compounded by the fact that in his ignorance he says he thought the Hideos were a less evolved life form, as if that should have made such slaughter allowable, and then the added punctuation to the overall shock when a final whale squid youth swims up to look curiously at the machine caliber's eyes, only to be caught by Chamber and crushed to death as Leto screams out, "No!" I really found myself speechless and stunned by that point, and adding a sort of precision to the overall poignancy of the emotional moment, do we leave off with Amy returning home to find Bevel playing the flute Leto gave him, as she herself sheds tears. It was all an eye-opening yet beautifully, sadly brutal truth in the way life sometimes works. Sometimes we fight because we're told to fight, and we don't think to always question why we're doing it. We're fed promises of peace, wealth, and security, a life of adventure and travel, if only we send a few dozen steaming hot chunks of metal into the bodies of strangers. And what's more, we live in a world where sometimes, though not all the time, does ignorance reign high. We act as if, because we're the most intelligent species on the planet, thus as a result must we invariably be the ones most deserving of its resources. Yet there are so many various forms of life that coexist with us and that we're largely taking advantage of. It shouldn't have to escalate to a seemingly unknown species or alien being revealed to be an offshoot of what we are as human beings for us to stop and take a look around, and what's more, put our foot down to stop such heinous and obtuse behavior. I can't say whether or not these themes are what was meant to be represented by the writer of Suisei no Gargantia, but that's where I was left in mind by the end. And so we'll just have to wait until next time to see whether Leto shapes up and puts this new knowledge to use for better or for worse, and what new problems may occur as a result of either decision. That'll be pretty much it for me on this one. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you made of all the stuff that happened in this episode, and what you think is going to happen next. And otherwise, I hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you later. Peace.